I first came to Riad in 1972, before many of you were born. And I have loved coming back. I used to run PepsiCo in the Middle East. And I don't know if there's any people here from Coca-Cola, but when I was here in the 70s and 80s, there was no Coca-Cola. We had 103% market share. And I love competition, but there's something exciting about a monopoly. I had great times in the Middle East, and I've been coming back ever since. And it's good to be having the chance to talk to you about entrepreneurial business. A few weeks ago, I was in my office in New York, and my assistant came to me and she said, the Pentagon is on the phone. And I said, no, it's impossible. There's no way. I have done nothing wrong. It cannot be the Pentagon. She said, it's the Pentagon. I said, how do you know? It's probably an idiot friend of mine who's just taking the piss, you know? Ignore it. She said, it's the Pentagon. You'll know. I said, okay, give me the phone. I got the phone. It was the Pentagon. I was talking to a 3-star general. I have never spoken before to a 3-star general. I hope I never speak again to a 3-star general. It was the most frightening experience of my life. He didn't ask me anything. He just yelled orders at me. At the heart of the conversation was his instruction to me that I should arrive at the Pentagon in 3 weeks' time for a discussion on how to improve the image of the US internationally. And you have 3 hours. I thought, mate, it may take longer. And I might not be the right guy. Anyway, I arrived a few weeks later in Washington, and I was met by 6 U.S. Marines. Have you ever met a U.S. Marine? It's a thing you will never, yeah, there's a guy there going, I was one, okay. You will never forget them. Because I come from New Zealand, and I'm not therefore American, I am considered by the U.S. Marines as a threat. And they look at me with death in their eyes. My death. It's a bit like when you go to JFK, you know, and they take all your clothes off. For you guys, it must be worse than for me, right? But for me, they take my everything off. They take my shoe, they take my belt off. So they think I'm going to go to the front of the airplane, that I'm going to go past these Delta air stewardesses, all of whom are 65 and weigh 200 pounds. That's the women I'm talking about. That I'm going to go past these wrestlers, and I'm going to rip off my belt. My trousers would fall down, and I'm going to stand there with my trousers around my ankles, my belt in my hand, and I'm going to strangle the captain. I don't understand it. Anyway, so we go there, and I go into this room, and the guy tells me as I go inside, okay, we have assembled our best and brightest. So I said, oh, it's going to be a small room then. He said, no, best and brightest, they're over here. And I walk in, and this room was 300 people, man. And I didn't really know anyone. There were guys and there were girls, okay? The guys were all the same. They all wear blue button-down shirts, that great American invention, khakis, and they had more Apple equipment in front of them than they have in Cupertino. They had iPad 1, iPad 2, iPad 3, and they're not even invented yet. They had everything. And they're all behind these initials, NSA, FBI, CIA. Actually, the CIA were over there, and the FBI were over there because they still don't talk. And these guys were all the guys that you have avoided all your life. You know, you went to college with them, you never hung out with them. You go into a bar to drink Pepsi or juice, as you do. So you go into the bar, and when you see these guys drinking their Pepsi, you go, whoa, and you walk straight away. So I go in front of them and I say, okay, I've come here to talk to you today about how to improve the image of the U.S. overseas. And I said, so don't worry. Don't worry. You don't have an image problem. Now, they didn't laugh. They all went, yeah. Okay, right. Feeling good, baby. Feeling good. And I said, no, you don't have an image problem, but you do have a teeny-weeny action problem. Just maybe you should consider stopping killing people. That was not their response. Okay? The Marines all came 3 feet forward. Their hair bristled, and it was a terrible, terrible morning. And they have not asked me back. In fact, every time I go back into the US now, they strip search me. But the point of that is, during this discussion, they told me, you don't understand anything, and we understand everything, which actually sums up US policy, really. So you understand nothing, we understand everything. And what you don't understand is that we live in a vuka world. A vuka world. Oh yeah, what's that? This is a world that is volatile. A world that is uncertain. A world that is complex. And a world that is ambiguous. To which I said, no shit. That's the only world I've ever known. There is no news in this. And they said, no, there is news in this. It means that, you have to be flexible. And I said, listen, look, the real world we live in is not VUCA like this. Of course, this is the real world, but this is simple stuff. This is simple stuff. How do you win, man? You win because the world is really super VUCA. I just made that up. It's a very advertising kind of thing, right? Super VUCA. And they said, what's this? And I said, well, actually, the world we live in, our world, is vibrant. It's full of life. It's full of opportunity. It's full of growth. It's full of optimism. It's a world that is unreal. We can do anything in this world. There are no more tyrannies of size or geography or distance or demographic or income. Anybody can do anything. We're connected. We're all socially connected. We can do anything, man. It's unreal. We can create. There are no more barriers. This is a world that is C for crazy, crazy, crazy. I am crazy. Do you know that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You can look scared. You should look very scared because I am seriously crazy. Do you believe me?
I absolutely do.
That's the right answer. She's English. That's good.
No, I'm New Zealander.
You're a New Zealander. Anybody here been to New Zealand? Fantastic. Anybody here been to Australia? Why? So I'm from New Zealand, and we all are down here, right? So I'm crazy. You guys crazy? Yeah? Sometimes. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, hands up the crazy people. Did you see, good man, did you see Paul Pullman this morning speak? He might not look it, but he's crazy. Yeah, he's crazy. And we live in a world that is astounding. There is nothing that we can't do. So I wanted to talk to you about that today because that's quite a challenge. How do we operate in Saudi Arabia in this super VUCA world? Okay, well, I come from New Zealand, and this is how we handle a challenge like that. And whenever we have a problem anywhere in the world, I just pick up the phone, the boys come down. That's the end of the problem. Vince Lombardi, the coach of the century, the US, said winning isn't everything. but wanting to win is. Business is a blood sport. It is about wanting to win. And when I look at Europe, Europe has become soft, apologetic, politically correct, and boring as batshit. We cannot depend upon them. They are sleeping. Nothing has come out of Switzerland except chocolate and cuckoo clocks. In France, pardon Riad, nothing has happened since 1745. Actually, the best thing that happened to France was Italian. It was Carla Bruni. No. Richard, I'm sorry. So we have to go forward. We have to win. I want to talk to you today about 3 quick ideas on how we can all win from Saudi Arabia. The first is we must be purpose-inspired. What's the role of business? I teach the MBAs in Auckland University and in Lancaster. And Jack Welch, for many years, when he ran GE, said the purpose of business is to create shareholder value. How incredibly correct and how incredibly boring. Peter Drucker, who was one of the smarter guys, said that it was the role of business was to create, maintain a customer. That way you created shareholder value. Correct, but not very interesting, no? In today's world, I think the role of business is to make the world a better place for everyone. Exclusive capitalism as practiced by Gordon Gekko and Michael Douglas, Tom Cruise and co. is a thing of the past. Inclusive capitalism is what the world needs to grow, to create a future for all of us. Martin Luther King did not say, I have a vision statement. I heard yesterday at the program that everyone was talking about vision, vision, vision. I think vision, vision, vision is bullshit. That's a New Zealand technical term. Martin Luther King had a dream, not a vision. We want to be part of a dream, not a mission statement or a vision statement. Have a dream for your company. Have a dream for your nation. Have a dream for your business, because we all want to be part of a dream. We don't want to be part of a vision. Entrepreneurs have a dream, man. It's not about reaching for the stars. It's not about counting the stars, rather. It's about reaching for them. We live now in the age of now. People want everything now. There is no more new. New is already old. We want everything, and we want it now. And that's what entrepreneurs understand more than big companies. And to do that, you have to let your emotions rip. Great entrepreneurs, great businesses are built on passion, and they're built on emotion. They're not built on reason or rationale or strategy or process or management. All this stuff is for the banks, and look what happened to them. The difference between rational thinking and emotional thinking, Donald Kahn at BC, a neurologist, is very simple. Rational thinking leads to conclusions, and then to meetings, and then to more meetings, and then to corporate. And then you call in McKinsey. And you can never get rid of the bastards. Rational thinking leads to McKinsey. Emotional thinking leads to action. And we're all in the action business. And I show you that not to worry or to upset you, but because I believe it's a very important topic. And also because that ad was very emotional. We discovered that in child abuse in the UK, 40% of times it goes on, another adult knows that the abuse is taking place, but they are too scared to do anything about it. And they came to recognize ads that were about child abuse. So as soon as the ad came on, they left the room, or they turned the channel, or they had a cup of tea. So we used an ad that they didn't recognize, that had cartoons, that had canned laughter, so they didn't leave the room. And that led to action. In the next 3 months, the number of calls to the NSPCC increased 30%, with adults saying, my spouse is abusing a child. So emotion leads to action. So let your emotion rip. The second idea to win in the age of now is you must unleash creative leadership. Creative leadership, creative leaders now are the people that will inspire the crazies to make the dreams come true. There are 5 things you need to be a creative leader. I have 7,000 creative people working for me, and none of them work for me. They work for themselves. You cannot get eagles to fly in formation, nor would you want to. So how do I inspire them? First thing is, forget about looking for the big idea. It does not exist. There is no big idea out there, baby. Don't waste your time. Get lots of small ideas out there every day. That's what creative leaders do. They get lots of little ideas out there, and then the consumer makes one big. The consumer picks one up and runs with it. That's what we need to do. Get lots and lots of ideas out there. The second thing is creative leaders reframe constantly. They reframe relentlessly. Steve Jobs at Apple reframed presence into absence. He took away everything. He even took away the mouse. He took away the CD. He took away the record store. The only thing he didn't take away was the price. But he reframed from presence into absence. Reframe. Thank you. Creative leaders surprised with the obvious. For years, Apple sold all of its product in Best Buy and terrible retail chains. Ron Johnson said, no, the experience is terrible. Let's create our own Apple stores. Jobs said no 29 times. Now look, in Apple stores, they have the strongest turnover per square foot of any retailer in the world. Surprised with the obvious. Look at what's obvious. People are not expecting it. Creative leaders give their talent only 4 things. I've been working for kind of 40 years. You just give your people these 4 things and everybody flies. Give them responsibility. Give them learning. Give them recognition. And give them joy. And give them that in every conversation. When you go back to work tomorrow, if your boss doesn't give you those 4 things, show him that slide. Go, meh. He'll give you plenty of responsibility, some learning, and then he'll kick the hell out of you. That's no good. You want recognition and you want joy, because those 4 things make human beings happy. And happy bunnies work harder than not very happy bunnies. Give them those 4. Creative leaders ask 3 questions of any idea or of any piece of creative or any work. The first, they don't do research. They don't bother. They don't go out doing all these ridiculous measures and analytics. They just ask people, hey, do you want to see it again? Because if you don't want to see it again, it's no good. Do you want to share it? And do you want to improve it? In England this year, there was a very big royal event. You remember? Somebody got married, right? Remember? Did you see it? It's a very important thing to have seen. If you want to be hip and if you want to be part of the real world, you had to see the royal wedding. It was about 3 hours long. I've got a 2.5-minute version that you should see. Do you want to see that? Yeah. Okay. So this will allow you to talk about the royal wedding now amongst your social networking groups. Okay, 4th thing, you've got to become a love mark. Brands are dead. Brands are dead. Brands have become commodities. Brands are owned by companies, marketers, and stockholders. And love marks are owned by the people who love them. We've got to give up control of our brands and let the people who buy them own them. Brands are built on respect, price, benefit, performance, distribution, quality, trust, and they all look just the same. Love marks are built on respect and love. You marry someone you respect and love, not just someone you respect. Brands build loyalty for a reason. Love marks create loyalty beyond reason. And that's where premium pricing sits. Beyond price, beyond benefit. When I worked for Pepsi, I was taught I had to make Pepsi irreplaceable. Nothing in today's world is irreplaceable. You can replace it. You can replace your iPhone with a Nokia. You can replace your iPad with a Galaxy. You wouldn't, would you? No. Of course not. I live in Manhattan in Tribeca. I live in the same apartment building as Robert De Niro and Harvey Keitel and Billy Joel. It is where all the old, bald, fat, rich, white guys live. We all live there because we're creative, wear black t-shirts, and are bald, rich, and white. And we all buy our Apple stuff at the same store in Mercer Street. We don't go uptown where the tourists go because we're too hip. We're just too cool. So when I bought my first iPad, I took it home to my apartment block with Bobby and Harv. And I went upstairs to my apartment and I unwrapped it. It took me 40 minutes because Apple make you do that to torture you. They think you're getting involved with the product, but it's just torture. Unless you're 7 years old, it takes 3 seconds. And I pulled down the blinds because I wanted to have, with my iPad, a private moment. And do you remember when who's got an iPad here? Yeah, you remember. And the boys amongst you will remember when you took that out of the packaging and you assembled it, you will remember what you did in the privacy of your own room. You went like this. Now you remember. Not because it was irreplaceable, but because it was irresistible. And that's what lovemarks are. They are irresistible. So there's 3 words I'm going to leave you with. 3 E words as you go out in this great world to be entrepreneurs. The first thing is be enthusiastic. Do not be sarcastic, cynical, boring. I'm too cool for words, man. Enthusiasmo. Be out of here and be an irresistible force of nature. Change stuff tomorrow. No, Michael Porter's coming tomorrow. Change it the day after tomorrow. He's probably going to help. Secondly, be empathetic. Listen carefully. Emote. We must listen. The consumer is boss. We are not the boss. And the third, execute, execute, execute. I don't care about strategy. We live in a VUCA world or a super VUCA world. Who cares about strategy? 5-year plans, 3-year plans, 1-year plans. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. People ask me, what's the future of advertising? If I knew, do you think I'd be doing this? I got no idea, man. All I know is that we've got to execute very fast and we've got to do it now because the time is now. So when this is over, do not call the office, call your father, okay? Promise? Thank you very much.